Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for October 15th through the 21st, 2018. So let's take a moment to take a deep breath. There's a lot of energy, especially in the heart chakra. So really take time to breathe into your heart chakra. And as I had as I was preparing for this reading, as I always do, I meditate and breathe and all that to sort of get into that higher state of consciousness, and find it a little difficult to do today. So one of the things that helped me, and I feel like that the meditation process for me is as a much of a part of what this reading, the readings are going to be about, as what actually happens when I actually start rolling the camera. So it really occurred to me that I'm saying the word sign and signals right now as I'm trying to speak to you from the angels that have been trying to give me that message. So what I feel like is that there's going to be a lot of signals crossing, because that's what it feels like in the heart chakra right now. It just feels like there's a lot of cross signals. I want to say the word that wants to fall out of my mouth: misunderstandings. Um, and so we need to really find a way to, as Archangel Raphael is coming through, to really be healing, to be compassionate, to not take let me see, this is what's trying to come out, to not take the suffering, your own suffering, or someone else's suffering that may seem like it's coming at you. It's the best way I can say it, to not take it personally. Okay? And so what we're going to do is just call upon Archangel Metatron, because this is what finally helped for me to get past whatever it was, which I could feel it just really stuck in the heart chakra. So we're going to call on Archangel Metatron to use his sacred geometric shape to clear out all of our 12 chakras, the fifth dimensional chakras. And as he does this, just really allow this process to unfold, to let him, the geometric shapes go through each one of the chakras and clear out what they're writing, all the suffering, all the cross signals, the misunderstandings. Let that, to clear out all of those things within each chakra and throughout your entire soul. And just take some deep breaths. And just know that this is happening for you. That this is, whether you feel it directly or not. And he's writing something about focus. So it's very important for you in this week to focus. And he keeps writing sign. So pay attention to signs. Okay? And these signs may be things that you're familiar with. I'm getting a sense that these are some personal patterns, signs that you see. And you know your own personal signs. When you need to, let's say, withdraw from a situation. I mean, you've had your personal signs. You know what I'm talking about? You know, you've seen this pattern before. You know, this doesn't feel right. But you've gone through with it in the past and got the result you were expecting. This is kind of a sign for you, because the pattern that holds you back or that causes you to get stuck comes up really clearly, not to drag you into it, but to allow you to um, recognize that this is not the choice that's good for you. You've seen it enough times now. You can clearly recognize it, and the only thing that's standing between you and that sign is your soul's voice that it needs you to trust. I mean, think of the word between that pattern and your soul, and the word that's sort of trying to eclipse that pattern is the idea of trust. And you want to trust this, and you always feel this exact same way. I should really trust this. And what they're trying to encourage you to do is to really trust this. They're trying to confirm that, yes, trust it. Okay? This sign, and it's weird because it's a pattern that, of, it's a pattern of the ego, but it's acting as a sign. It's acting as a way, a sign of alignment. It's trying to help you to find that alignment. And that alignment is going to be in any choice that feels better than that one. Because that choice feels really bad to you every time. And every time that pattern shows up, it's not good. You don't like it. The circumstances that follow once you go through with it just are not good. And so this you can use because you've been here many times before. You have experience. And so you know what the outcome is going to be. You just need to trust yourself. And this is so imperative that you do. It's so imperative that you do, that you trust yourself, because it's saying that you are ready to step outside the limitations of this pattern, that you're big enough, you're strong enough, and you're willing to step outside of that pattern. And you don't have to relive this. Neither do you ever have to be afraid of it again, because the contrast is always going to be there. That means those patterns are going to show up. But the difference is that each time you trust yourself and you don't make that choice, you move further and further away from that pattern. That pattern just recedes into the background, so to speak. It does. Just because vibrationally, the alignment doesn't allow for that which you are no longer resonating with to get closer to you. It gets further and further away from you. And that's the way to allow it to become further and further and further away from you. Just as if you're imagining the waves, just, tide taking something out. And that's what the law of attraction would do, is just the tide will just come and draw that out into the sea, way, way further and further and further away from you. So let go of this pattern. So the feelings are that feeling, that kind of cross-wiring, misunderstanding, is a sign for you to just let that go. Let that pattern go. Don't engage it. Trust yourself. Okay? Trust your body. Trust your instincts. Trust what you feel. It's really, really important here to maintain your alignment and your connection. Because what I was seeing, the trunk of the tree shows the connection. And what they were showing me before and they're showing me again is that whatever this pattern is, it has the ability, no power, but the ability, because you allow it, you give it this ability, and you give it that power with your agreement on some level. And there was this that the trunk is wide, your connection is really wide, but this thing just severed it, the tree trunk, and so you don't want to get stuck in this pattern. It's not necessary for you to go through it, actually, but it is offering you clear contrast because you feel the contrast is so acute. You feel it in opposition to you. That's why it feels like in your heart chakra like there's so many cross signals. It just like you don't want to be in that space because it's just not you. And so it's helping you to clearly look for the options that feel the complete opposite of it. That's really what you really want to do, is just go in the complete opposite direction of that pattern. And it's easy to do when it's so acute in this way. It's just a big opening, a big window of clarity is created when contrast is so stark in this way. It just gives you that real wake up call. Okay, but I feel like this isn't something that you have to go through. Now they're writing out the word office, so it feels like it has something to do with your job, your work. Even if you work at home, your space at home, wherever you do that work, is your office. Wherever you work is how they're using this, is your office. So even though you may not be, let's say some of you work in an office, but you may be sent out into the field, what they're calling is an energetic grid wherever you are doing your work, no matter what that work is. It does. If you're a mom or a dad, and when you're performing that office, see that how that word is being used now? That's your work. You're doing your work. So they want you to be aware that this comes up when you are performing a kind of office. Okay? And something comes up, there's some kind of struggle, and they're showing like the cross right over the trunk of the tree. So it feels like this, when you're performing this office, I feel like the word is integrity. There's something that you don't agree with. It is in contrast to your spiritual connection. This is something that you don't want to create. You don't want to participate in it. You don't want to give, you don't want to give any light to it. And you don't want it in your life. And there is a conflict here. And you feel this conflict and you're not sure how to make this choice. Now, I don't know why I'm saying the word demo, but this gives me this sense that you've, like a demo plays something. So you've seen this play out. And the consequences is like almost you have a sense of the consequences playing out in front of you like a demo. Yet every time you make this choice, you get drawn into maybe a different aspect of the consequences. It feels like I just saw the word have, is like you've been here before. But what it's telling me is that you get everything, they show you everything. And this time you really need to make your own decision, the one that's right for you, the one that feels good to you, the one that allows you to, and there's right in the angel number 4, which is about the angels supporting you. So, heaven's going to back you up no matter what you do, no matter what you choose. That's a reality. That's a divine truth. It doesn't matter what choices you make, heaven's always going to back you up. It's always going to support you. It's never going to condemn you. It's never going to reject you. You're not going to be sent away, cast out. These are the biggest falsehoods ever told about God and heaven. This just does not occur. It never has, nor will it ever. There is nothing that can ever happen that would allow that to happen within the heart of God towards his children. So, with that said, you're going to be supported. And even if you're going to be supported when it doesn't suit you, and I'm talking about your alignment, then you're definitely going to be supported when it does suit you, that is to say, your alignment, but it doesn't suit at the same time the people around you or the situation, the circumstances. If it doesn't suit them, they're going to, but if it suits you, then this is what you need to focus on. Because whatever this situation is in your work, and that is to say, whatever you apply yourself to in the moment, something doesn't suit you, and you've got to make that decision that finally chooses what does suit your own spiritual alignment, and know that the universe is going to support you. And if you stand in your truth and you really clearly let go of all and the outside strings, if you just let go of all those attachments and you stand in your truth and confront that stark contrast, you will be supported. You will find that there's support there. But people need your conviction in order to be convinced by your truth. And when you stand on the edge and you wobble about it and you can't find the strength to own your truth, then people aren't convinced and don't go with you. Or at least don't understand, or they at least cannot find the understanding that you're looking for. So find the conviction within yourself first to own your power, to own what you know you need, and you will find less opposition. Not going to say that there won't be any, but you'll find less. And if you keep coming from your truth, this does not mean to fight. It just means to be who you are. There's no fight in that. Don't misconstrue that, because people often throw a force of power into words like this, having conviction or strength. They think it means go to war. It doesn't. It means just truly believe in who you are in that moment and the choices that you clearly see are right for you. It's like when I was teaching, I realized that if I believed in what I was teaching, they did. They believed in what I was doing for them. But if I doubted it, they did. It's as simple as that. And I would not have just be out of control if I didn't believe in what I was doing. I always believe that. So if that makes sense to you, this is going to be really important for you. There's a couple parts of this that's really important. When you recognize a pattern, trust yourself. Then there is standing in your power. Next is owning that power. Owning your truth, should be next. Owning your truth. Because that's where the conviction will be developed. And then to stand in your power. And that is to say, keep your focus upon that truth that you know is right for you. You're not doing it for anybody else, you're doing it for yourself. And through that conviction, others will be convinced. Doors will open, the understanding will be there, and you'll be able to, you may not go straight through without having to keep reinforcing it, but people will keep opening as they are processing and shifting. Okay? Now let's take a look at the card for the theme of the week from the Archangel Oracle cards. And here we go. I kind of hoped this card would show up, because I was really feeling that energy very strongly. And this makes so much sense, this message from Archangel Metatron. and I gotta put my reading glasses on, sorry, which is prioritize. And he just said focus. And so this week is really going to be about you focusing on what's right for you, what's in alignment, what's in alignment with your soul, making those decisions that are right for you. I mean, this is the way forward. Do you kind of get this sense? It's like you can't step forward without this focus, without this conviction. But the conviction has to be not in trying to prove anything to anybody else or to get others to change around you, but the conviction has to be about that you know that this is what resonates with your heart, that you know that this is the right path for you. Not about what everybody else thinks about what I'm doing. This holds us up. This is where we get blocked or feel like we're blocked because we're spending all of our energy trying to convince others to believe in something that we aren't convinced about yet because we're doubting ourselves. You see the signs, but you feel like you need your mommy or your daddy. And I don't mean to say that to be condescending, but I know that there are many times that, like, you know, I've had to make decisions and I just felt like, oh my God, you know, that thing is like, where are my parents kind of thing, because they made the decisions for us in our lives. And I know when my mom died, it was just, you know, that was the biggest part of it, is realizing, even though she wasn't making decisions in my life anymore, but it was like, who does this now? Like, it really fell upon my head that I have to make the decisions, that we had to be the grown-ups because she wasn't there anymore. And it's the same feeling that sometimes in our lives we get stuck in that same kind of feeling, but you have to do this now. You are the one. No one can know what's inside of your heart. No one else can know what's right for you. No one else is experiencing your soul, your spirit that is speaking to you, that voice. Nobody else has access to that voice. And so you must trust that voice and honor it. And this is the kind of focus that you need, especially in this week, as you apply yourself in that energetic grid that they're calling the office. And that is your work, but it's not just your career kind of work. It's whatever work is important to you. It's like your opus, your purpose, your opus, your purpose. That's kind of cool, isn't it? So focus, but focus with conviction. All right, here the card says, focus on your highest priorities. I will help you get organized and motivated. And just something in that message, on your highest priorities. Because there are distractions that we think are important. Like, you know, so it feels like something, it's like a couple of things. Like we were talking about earlier, there are certain things that we think are important, but they are not important to us. And that can happen in your work, you know, where we make compromises, or we make compromises because we put another priority over our own, and we don't feel right about it, but we do it anyway. And then there's those things that are like in our lives, you know, personal things in our lives that are distractions, but they become a priority. We think they're important, but they're just a distraction. They keep us from fulfilling our own goals. And that is the thing that Archangel Metatron wants you to watch out for this week, because it's not going to work. It's going to create this disconnect inside of you. You're going to get dragged into all kinds of really emotional things that are going to throw you off balance, throw your temperament off, your attitude. And it's not happening because you are being judged, you did the wrong thing. It's happening because it's not rewarding to you. It's happening because you deserve to be more to live a life that's more fulfilling and that's more honorable. And I'm saying the word freedom. It's about learning to express your true desires and to live. Authenticity is the word. Okay? All right. So let's take a look at the cards for this week. And let's see how our week begins. Let's see what they indicate. Okay, so there's that. This card represents what I've been talking about, this emotional confusion. This is the Seven of Cups. And this is what Seven of Summer is about. This card really, whenever the Seven of Cups comes up, it's like you're just emotionally just sort of all over the place. And this is such a contrast to what Archangel Metatron is saying. So don't forget to ask for help with that, with his sacred geometric shape through the 12 fifth dimensional chakras. Okay? Remember to ask him to do that for you through the week. And know that this sort of collage of emotions is also a sign. This card summarizes that sign I was trying to speak about the most. I recognize this in so many times, whether it's a relationship, whatever type of when that comes up, it means that it's like a cloud covering the truth that your heart is really aiming for. Like this crystal he's holding up, is for clarity, but the prism of light that shines through it. And the clarity is directing something, but these the emotions become like this cloud of confusion that's just distorting it. And it's because you know what you want, but you're afraid to want it. You either feel you don't deserve this, or you don't feel that you will be respected. It's usually around these kinds of things. There's probably some other things that are not coming to mind right now. But I'm going to tell you that what I've always learned is that I should go with the thing that I'm the light, the spiritual focus. I should go with that. The thing that's telling me what is right for me, that's what I should do. Even if it's somebody's invited you somewhere, but you know you really want to do this, but you're afraid to say it for whatever reason, then don't waste your energy trying to now figure out ways to get out of it. That's the kind of things that we do. It's like we have this clear idea, but we spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to get around it. And that is one of the clearest ways that we are distracted. Something that's really not important, and that's why you feel the emotional confusion, because it's not a spiritual priority. Yet you're trying to find ways to deal with it or get around it or to get out of it. And your whole week is and this thing is so powerful that every day of your life there are many wonderful things for you to focus on and many opportunities that for you to enjoy. But this thing will just like have you by the throat or by whatever and you can't focus on anything else. You can't enjoy anything else. You're sitting in a room full of people laughing and going on, but you're cringing as your heart is still aching about this subject. This kind of thing, we've got to stop doing. We've got to let this go. It's like cut the crap here, about this. I know I've felt that way so many times, and then eventually you face this situation, and you say to yourself, why did I let myself go through this? But you don't get it till afterwards. You don't get that it wasn't important till after it happens. So, very important here. Okay, let's see what the middle of the week. So I'm kind of hearing about this card in respect to that. Take some time for yourself this week. You pull back when that emotional stuff. Then you need and I don't know if it's about physically pulling back, but you need to pull back in the sense that you just say no to this. That you just may need to say no to quite a number of things this week. The hermit is probably someone who wouldn't have the attachments to care that much. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be caring, but to care about all those attachments and what everybody else is thinking on the other end of those strings. You probably are going to need to be this way, and it's not a dispassionate attitude, actually, because when we take on this weight of responsibility to every person, like like we're obligated, like we owe. No, you don't owe people that much of yourself. You don't. You owe them the truth. And the truth is, in that moment, if you're not enthusiastic and you're the slightest bit feeling emotionally robbed, because this is what this energy does, then you should just simply be truthful and say, no, I am not available. Give them an explanation. Don't explain. It's just, no, I'm sorry. I'm unable to be available to you. Now that's the truth. Instead of saying I'm not available, which implies something else, like I have another obligation. I'm just not available. No, I'm not available to you for this. That's the truth. Simple. Okay? Let me just tune in and see if there's any other information about this card. Ooh, what I'm seeing is this frame with a tree. That's a frame, like a picture, and it's framed, and it's just this tree, but with a beautiful trunk. But it felt like peace. It was just so peaceful when it popped into my vision. And so the thing about it is I'm getting a sense that when you do this, you're going to feel like it's about setting boundaries too. So this is one of the things that the Hermit card is saying about setting boundaries for your own peace of mind and for your spiritual connection. Very important. And now this second card, these two cards came out together. So my feeling is that their message goes together. So the Justice card here. And the Justice card, in respect to all of this, is giving us a sense about that truth lies within. Okay? That you're assessing not from you're assessing what's happening outside of you through through the spiritual voice within you. This is a spiritual voice that nobody else can hear and no one else can judge. This is the law, the justice that you need to follow. That spiritual voice. This voice loves unconditionally, does not condemn, nor criticize others' suffering, nor your own. It sees it through. Sometimes it sees it through a perspective that just surpasses all understanding. To really just take that from the spiritual text in the Bible, but it really is the understanding that surpasses all others. That's this kind of the spiritual justice of this card. So, but this usually you see justice is blind, and I believe that is because, or you see sometimes in the cards that she has something over her eyes because she sees it within, The truth is within, and it's the only place to look for it. And so it seems like that this week is about you getting the only way to have that clear focus when you're dealing with this emotional confusion is to see the truth within. You would not, and there is no way to say I don't know what it is, because if you're feeling this, then that means that you're holding that crystal, that clarity within you. The clarity within you is the reason why you're feeling the emotional confusion, because it's shining that prism of light, that healing outward. Always, that clarity is healing. And the only reason you're feeling confused or mixed because this is beaming like clear in a straight path, and the other is crisscrossing, and that's what's creating that emotional sort of collage, or an emotional. I know it's maybe not the right word, but I'm just going to say it anyway. It's like a cacophony. I know it's about sound, but in this sense, you get what I'm saying. It's all bundled, just jumbled up, and all happening, chaotically. So this is the only reason we experience any kind of negative emotion, which is jumbled up signals, is what negative emotion is. Ooh, that's new. It's because the light within you is beaming a clear path, and there are other signals that you are allowing to cross your own clear signal from the light of truth shining within you. So there's no way for you not to know what your truth is when you say you're confused about anything, or frustrated, or anxious. These emotions do not exist without the clear truth. The only reason that you feel them is because you are allowing or inviting, through your focus, attention, or lack of attention, a crossing of signals to interfere with your true voice. So this week is maybe a little harsh to say this, but it's the truth. Stop doing that. Stop letting things cross. Stop focusing on things that interferes with your own signal. And that just brings it right home, because that's how Archangel Metatron was starting off, with signs, signals. They kept doing that as I was trying to speak to you. And this geometric grid that Archangel Metatron works with will help you with that. All right, so let's take a look at the card I already pulled from the bottom of the deck. And this is interesting. The Six of Summer. So this would tell us, this usually has to do with something in your past. A couple of things. For some of you, I'm getting about your children, whether your children are adults or small children, that you may be, one distraction may be that in your life, that you're allowing your children issues or whatever's going on with them to interfere with you staying true to yourself. You can't help them. You can't teach them anything without teaching them through this purpose, this path, this way. If you're going to teach, you have to teach first through the truth of your own soul's clarity. Then whatever you say will have conviction. You see what I mean? It will have standing. So, but at the same time, then everything that's going on with them is not as important or more important than your own spiritual priorities. Again, be aware of what you're teaching them, because they're going to, if you're, what you're doing in that moment is that you're mirroring to them something that they should do, which is to then not put their spiritual priorities over things that are not important. And sometimes being in other people's business seems like it's important, but it's not. Okay, so that's the one thing that I'm getting about this right now. And another thing I guess that I'm getting about this, because I feel that this point is stronger than the other one I was about to make, as it's coming to me from them, and this could apply to seeing other people as not being as mature as yourself, and therefore treating or seeing them like a child. And so again, same thing applies here. Okay, yeah, that's really what the energy of this card is about in the context of this reading, because this is about not being distracted and being focused and doing the right things for you. Okay. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings. I thank you all for joining us this week. If you're looking for an angel reading, you can contact me at theangelschool.com. And you can go on the services page where you can find the readings that you wish to sign up for. Also, this week for the daily card messages, and that link is below the video, all the links are below. The daily card messages, there's some of them I'm going to miss this week, but I will keep up with them as much as I can. But you can find them and the ones that have been written already if you haven't been to my Facebook page, which is different from my Facebook account. But if you haven't gone there, you can find that link that'll take you directly to those writings there, the daily card messages. You can also find them through Twitter as well. So, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Dragon Card Oracle review that I posted last week, and I'm going to try to get around to Kyle Gray's deck. I may also do a video on the decks that I'm using, and kind of maybe talk to you about them. Let me know if that's something you're interested in, the decks I use for these readings and the readings I do with clients. And if you would like for me to review them as well. Also, there's a deck that I had reviewed, the Guardian Angel Oracle by Chrissy Estelle. And if you haven't checked that deck out, maybe you would like to look on my channel and find that deck if you haven't had a chance to look at it. So have a good week and focus on what's meaningful to you. And don't be afraid to say no, okay? And have a beautiful week. God bless you all.